you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
I heard Michael coming aboard there. So let me give you the numbers from around the world. These are the cash markets, the indices, as they're called. And then Michael will give us a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. Then I'll come back and go over the alerts. So currently the Dow is up 439 points. NASDAQ is down 110. S&P 500 is up 17. And the Russell 2000 is up 23. Now for the Dow, that's a gain of 1.5%. For the NASDAQ, that's a loss of almost 1%. And for the Russell 2000, that's a gain of a little over 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil down 88 cents, trading 65.21 last. That's a drop of over 1.25%, but man, crude's been on a tear. Guys, I think we're headed back to $140 a barrel oil. I'm not putting any kind of time frame on it, but with the current administration and all that is in the world right now, I think it's in our future. Gold is down $21.50, trading $16.77 last. Silver down 8 cents, trading $25.21 last. In the Asian markets today at the close, Nikkei finished down 121 points. Shanghai dropped 80. The Hang Seng dropped 557. That's almost 2%. But remember last week, we had some big days in the Hang Seng. There was one day that we had a gain of, I think it was almost 6%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE posted a gain of 88 points, 1.25%. The DAX rose 160 points, almost 3.5%. And the CAC rose 120, which is a gain of 2%. That gives us a red day in Asia, a green day in the UK, and because of the NASDAQ, it is a mixed Radio Monday here in the US of A. With that, let's go to Michael, if you're ready, Michael, and get a recap of everything that happened this morning in the live training room. And if you're not quite ready yet, I'll go ahead and bring up a daily chart of the S&P. And then after Michael does the recap, we'll go over all of the Concierge and Logic 247 alerts from last night. We had a busy night. So this is the daily chart of the S&P 500 Emini Futures. This is the all-time historic intraday high. This is the all-time historic closing high on a day when Wall Street was closed, President's Day. That's got to tell you something, but I've been beating that to death, so I'll leave it alone for now. So then when we hit resistance, price goes looking for support. When price pulls back to the BBC, the green line, we expect it to hold. It holds more often than it doesn't. Bounced us all the way up to red and falling. Resistance sent us once again looking for support, which we found at the 50% fib retracement of this last leg up, from this low to this high. That yellow line is the 50% fib retracement. So we found support. Now we got to go look for resistance, which we found at red and falling and the 24% fib retracement. That sent us looking for support, which we found right here. Here's Friday's candle, last night's candle. We had talked in the discussion group over the weekend that we anticipated a pop higher on the open, followed by a move to the downside. And that's exactly how it unfolded. Price popped up, and then overnight traded all the way down to here. The low of the session, 37.96 and a quarter. When we did our pre-market strategy session, price was just below the daily BBC. And so we talked about what an important dynamic that is if we close this session at 5 p.m. Eastern today with a green body above the BBC. That's bullish. That means we're going to try to head up and take out all these swing highs. If we close the session with a red body below the BBC, then we should look for another leg or daily candle to the downside. We've already hit the 62% fib retracement and spiked it again. And so really we're up against resistance. We had a green candle all the way up to here, but it fades. Every time we get up there, it fades. Now let me show you what that looks like on the 30-minute. It gets up there and fades. It gets up there and fades. It gets up there and fades. Now, when it comes to the alerts, our trade setups come off of a 30-minute chart. In the live training room, we use an 8-tick range chart. It's a fast-moving chart because we want to be able to show you our signature trade setup as many times as possible during the 2 hours. If we were using the 30-minute chart, then you might see 1 or 2 trade setups a day during the 2-hour period. But because we use the faster chart and you're looking at about 3 different markets at a time, Michael's able to show you multiple trade setups over and over and over. What are we looking for here? In a perfect world, what would it look like? Price would drop to the BBC, where it would find good support, and then we would catch a leg to the upside. If bulls are committed, buyers are committed, then we won't get that retracement, but we will get back up above this old weekly zone. And we had an alert that stopped out right here this morning. It was a 2 point to the initial target. It ran 1 point and reversed. And so then I gave the traders that were with me in the breakout session 2 options. Trade it back up to this high or wait for price to get above this and trade it up to the zone. The one that worked out was trading it back up to this high, because that high, 38.76, it got tested. And now we talked about this in that session, okay? The high here was 38.76. Why? The simple truth is that no one was willing to pay 38.76 and a quarter. And then price drops. Buyers are interested again. They drive it up, but this time they can't even get it to 38.76. They get it to 75.75. 1 tick shy. So buyers stop buying. Buyers stop buying again at the same area. And when buyers stop buying, this is what happens. Sellers come out of the woodwork and they drive that thing down as hard and as fast as they can until they drive it so low that buyers see that as, once again, a good price, a value price, and then they come in and they'll attempt to take it right back up. The way the indicators have positioned themselves, we've got blue and climbing directly overhead. So as you can see, a bullish move, you want blue and climbing, but once blue and climbing gets on top of price, it can start to act as resistance. Michael, did I hear you there? Okay. All right. So let me just go to my alert channel. And I don't know if I have the current alert over yet. Let me look. Not, I'll show you the one from earlier this morning. And then I'll show you the updated one as soon as Valerie has that ready. So this is what the recap looked like this morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. We've had a lot of alerts come out since then. As of 10 a.m. this morning, we'd issued 34 alerts since 6 p.m. Eastern last night when the markets opened. 9 never triggered. We were still waiting on 3. 22 actionable alerts, of which 2 got stopped out. That's 9% of the actionable stopped out. Now, in the live room, we risk 8 ticks on every trade. When trading alerts, the stop loss is based on market structure and a 3-step process that we teach all of our traders. Maximum risk is $300 per contract per trade, less when possible based on that 3-step method that I teach you. At no time do you ever risk more than the potential profit. If an alert comes out that only has 2 points potential profit, then you can't risk more than 2 points, okay? But on every long trade, the weekly zone overhead is the final target, and on every short trade, the final target is the weekly zone below. So as I said, on an average week, we see 20% get stopped out. Now, I get asked this question all the time. Dwayne, I watch your show every day. Thank you very much. I have a question. Shoot. Every day you talk about how, on average, 20% of the alerts get stopped out. Yes, that's true. How come you don't ever talk about the fact that 80% of them find the target? And I said, that's a very good question. That's a deep question. That's a thinker's question. Now, if this really has been the case, which we have all the records so you can see them, if this has really been the case over almost 7,000 alerts and 136 weeks, why don't I talk about the 80% win rate? Number one, I call it the earning rate, not a win rate. That's just semantics, but I like to control how I think to the best of my ability, because that controls how I speak and how I act. The people who are attracted to an 80% win rate, okay, that's a person who has given no thought to the most important part of the equation, and that is the risk side. We teach aggressive risk management. And so I'm looking for the student who understands that if they can just protect their trading capital, not by not trading, but by trading with aggressive risk management, a person who understands the importance of that, if you focus on the risk, preserving your trading capital, the other side of the equation will just take care of itself. Those are the students I'm looking for, not the ones who want to get rich tomorrow or yesterday, because those guys, when we try to put them through the program where they get the blueprint and they put together 10 consecutive days in a row in sim, well, they got time for that. They just want to click the mouse and make money. I can't help a person in that mindset, okay? I need someone who understands that focusing on the risk, protecting, preserving your trading capital, the other side of the coin just takes care of itself, okay? So now everybody knows why our website doesn't say 80% win rate, even though over 136 weeks, and how many alerts has it been now? This morning we published alert number 6,787. Every one of those is a trend trade as defined by our indicators on a 30-minute chart. Is that you, Michael?
That is me.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard you. Okay.
Yes.
Brother, it's all yours. When you're ready, take it
Okay.
away.
Here we go. Excuse me.
I don't know if you know, I don't know if Valerie mentioned to you, but our intro that used to be 3.5 minutes long,
Uh-huh.
it's like 1 minute and 12 seconds now.
Oh.
We
Okay.
just clipped out a bunch of the extraneous stuff that, frankly, I got tired of listening to every day. We're going to do a new one, but we just did a snip and a tuck on the old one. And so, yeah, we cut 3.5 minutes down to, I think, 1 minute and 12 seconds.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Great. All right. So here we go. Let's view that and bring this back up. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 8th day of March, 2021. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. On the homepage, if you scroll down, it says free 5-day trial, no credit card required. Click on that, and you'll be brought to this page, EminiTrainingschool.com. On this page, all that we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button and you'll be sent a confirmation link. Now, you must click on that confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click the link, we don't know that you took the free trial. So you have to click on that link. All right. Now, results. All right, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the 8th day of March, 2021. Today, we made 28 ticks in crude, 43 ticks in gold, and 64 ticks on the ES. That put us up $1,510 a contract. Today, it took 6 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 27 trades. So on the month now, we're at $7,992. That's over 6 trading days, averaging $1,332 per contract per 2-hour trading day. We've now gone 43 out of 44 days so far this year, getting our goal, so that makes it the 44th trading day of the year. And on the year now, we're at $39,477 a contract. That's over 44 days, averaging $897 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Okay, now let's go in and see what we actually did. I'm just going to start out with gold here today. All right, I didn't draw too many lines today. I did draw some. You can see them, the purple ones. But I got kind of a slow start today. Well, not really slow, but a little bit slow. I started off here. My first trade on gold. There were a couple of trades in here on this move down, but we had to break this dynamic support. There was one up here that you could have taken. Then one right here once we broke the dynamic support, another one there, and another one there. And then I finally got involved right over here, and I took, what did I take on that one? 6 ticks profit on the first trade. Okay, the next trade over here, I took 4 ticks profit, giving us the goal for the day. I missed a short there and there, both of which would have been break even. And then I got a break even right there. I got another break even there. And I missed a short here. That would have been a break even. And this is gold. Somewhere in here, there's a trade that I took where I got 15 ticks. No, I got 5 ticks. I'm sorry. I got 5 ticks on a trade in here somewhere. I don't know where it was. There was a trade in here somewhere where I got 5 ticks in profit. It could have been right in here. It could have been right in here. Could have been right in here. I'm gonna bounce off the BBC right there. But anyway, at that point, we're up 15 ticks, and here we got a 25 tick trade. That put us at plus 40 right here. And then, I don't know, I didn't record this trade. This was 10 ticks, but I didn't record that one. And here we picked up, yeah, this is the gold, right? Yeah, I didn't record this one either. We picked up something there, and then we had, it looks like we probably picked up 2 ticks there and 1 tick on the next one. Yeah, and that was it. 2 ticks there and 1 tick on the next one. Put us at plus 43 on the morning session on gold. Now, during the break, well, first we'll go back to the lines that I drew. in here when we had a long opportunity. I thought it was going to get up initially this area right here, and then this area showed up. So I made it to this one first, then that one, then it pulled back, and then we got in here, and I said this was the pullback area, and this was the target area. So we made it down to the target area, and never made it back up to the pullback area. I didn't draw that many lines in gold this morning because all the markets were kind of jumping around. See this huge move right here in gold? That was kind of like the huge move that we had back here in gold. Now this was one of those ones where I got in and then it just took off and it was completely out of sight on my DOM. And so I scrolled down to where it was on my DOM because I don't have auto center on that one. And I scrolled down to where it was and I threw my profit target down there. And
Michael, we lost your audio. Or I lost your audio, maybe everyone else didn't. Can you guys hear Michael? Valerie, if you're there, maybe you could text him or telegram him. If he needs me to take over, I can if something happened to his computer. Just stand by, guys. We'll get it squared away here in just a second. I'm going to send him a telegram real quick. In the boardroom. Michael, we lost your audio. Okay, maybe he'll see that pop up. Okay, let's give it just a couple more minutes, guys. And if he's not able to pop back on, or if he doesn't message me back in Telegram, I'll take the charts. I did just post in Telegram a link to our iTunes channel. We were one of the first people to publish podcasts on a daily basis in iTunes way back in the day. 2005 we started. But I posted a link to get to our iTunes channel in the Breeze channel. That's where we just shoot the breeze about stuff in Telegram. If you have a few minutes, if you'd be so kind as to click the link and give us a review, let other people know why you enjoy the show. The more people that leave us a review, the more people find us. It moves us up in the algorithm, and especially for those of you who I talked about a little this morning, who are really getting it and are starting to find and put on your own trades based on what we've taught you. It's now time for you to pay it forward and start helping the new guy. And part of helping the new guy is helping the new guy find us. Okay, Michael said he lost everything on his end. It seems to be coming back. Okay, if you want me to take over, I can, or just wait a little bit. I'm talking to the guys right now. So our podcast appears on iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and mostly wherever pods are cast. But that's just the audio portion. In the beginning of CFRN, starting in 2005, it was just a podcast every day. I think it was 2011 that we started adding video. Okay, Michael asked me to go ahead. Okay, once you get things up and running, if you want to pop back in and finish where you left off, just message me and we'll switch screens again. Okay, so he's having an issue with his computer, so just keep in mind the last thing he said. And we'll jump over to my charts for a little bit. Okay. Oh, let me do this, because Valerie just sent me the fully updated recap. Thank you very much for that, Valerie. So let me just grab it, copy it, paste it. Come on. While I'm doing this, I'll try to talk at the same time. I went downtown Friday night. We have a thing in Phoenix every Friday night called First Friday. It's down in the art district downtown, and all the hippies and hobos and fun people come out and listen to live music and drink coffee and walk the streets and look at the art galleries. And it's been a total non-event for the past year because of COVID. But we went down this past Friday night, and there's signs of it coming back to life. So I take that as a great leading indicator. All right, so far this week, Logic 247. Now we have 2 alert services, both included with the passport, but they differ in this way. The Logic alerts that you're looking at the recap of, they're issued around the clock as opportunity presents itself based on current price action. The other alerts, the Concierge, that's a static report I publish shortly after the Globex open each evening, and that gives you 2 numbers for each market as forward guidance, okay? Whereas the Logic alerts have an entry, an initial target, a second target, third target, final target, okay? The purpose of the Concierge is for you to just put 2 lines in the sand on your chart, and I'll show you how to do that when we get there. So think about this. Most traders are waiting until Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, so they can go to work, because that's when Wall Street opens. But the global markets, Asia, London, the Globex session starts at 6 p.m. Eastern, Sunday night through Thursday night. So last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we opened the channel for business, and it will stay open around the clock Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern. So open last night, we've issued 38 total alerts, Logic, 9 never triggered, still waiting on the results of 1. We've had 28 actionable alerts just since last night, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. 3 stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade, less when possible, based on market structure and the 3-step methodology that I teach all of our traders. So we're at 11% stopped out so far this week, but it's very early in the week. An average week will be 20%. Now those individual alerts look a little something like this, okay? The last alert I put out this morning was for the NQ. It was alert number 6,787. To buy the NQ at 12,752. Initial target 12,762. And then the final trade to target on every long alert is the weekly zone overhead, which happens to be 12,825/12,826. And this is the one we're still waiting on, okay? Alert number 6,786. The Russell. We won't be long at 2233. In target 2235. Potential resistance or second target 2247. And then the final trade to target, the weekly zone at 2271 2272. The numbers that you see in brackets, when Valerie comes behind me and does the read, she just makes a note of what the current swing high or swing low is at the time she did the recap, just as a point of reference. This is the long on the Dow, buy, initial target, potential resistance, second target, weekly trading zone, final trade to target. Okay, this was stop out on the S&P. Now, the entry was 55, the initial target, which is your 200, which is your 2 points or $100 per contract traded. The swing was 38.76. So it got halfway to the target, didn't make it on the first move, and so that gets recorded as a stop out. This is a short on crude oil. So 65.30, initial target 65.20, potential support target number 2, weekly trading zone, final trade to target. Here's a short on gold. Here's a long on the NQ. Buy, initial target, second target, final target. Here's a long on the Russell. Here's a the Dow. Long on the S&P, a long on gold, a short on crude with 1, 2, 3, 4 targets. When you see the Z's, that means it never triggered. In other words, we had an alert to go short, and price just never dropped down there far enough to trigger. Same thing here on the Dow. Here's a stop out on the NQ. We'll go to the charts and look at these in a minute. This was a hedge on silver that never triggered. A short on silver from 25.50 to 25.48 to 25.30 to $25. Now margins are high on silver, but a $1 move in silver, if price goes from $25 to $26 and you have one large silver contract, that's a profit or loss of $5,000. So be careful. This is a short on gold. This was a no trigger on crude oil. Now, hedge NQ. What that means is that up above, there's a long on the NQ that hasn't triggered yet, but now market structure looks like we're about to have a drop instead of a rally. So I come right in and say, okay, let's hedge that NQ long because it hasn't triggered yet. So if it drops to 12,495, we want to sell it down to the initial target, $200, down to the final trade to target. Now the final trade to target was 12,470. When Valerie did the recap, it had already dropped to 12,455. So from 495 to 470, that's 25 points at $20 a point. That's $500 per contract trade. There's a hedge on the Russell, hedge on the Dow, hedge on the ES, long on the NQ, long on the Russell. Now, when it says previous alert still valid, what that means is we had a long on the Russell, but price didn't rally right away. In fact, it dropped. So I'm able to put out an additional alert by 2194, initial target 2196, final target 2197, and then just on the other side of 97.98, there's another alert up here somewhere that says to get long, you know, probably around 2200. We'll stumble across it in a minute. That's what previous still does. Same thing on the Dow. Same thing on the ES. No trigger on crude. This was a gap fill trade on crude. On futures, we don't see a lot of gaps because the markets trade around the clock. Sunday night is when we see gaps because the market's been closed for a day and a half. Sometimes we get gaps in earnings season, but mostly Sunday night. And with the index futures, it is the most high probability trade that we have. If you get a gap higher or lower on the S&P, Dow, Russell, NQ on Sunday night, it's a very high probability that that gap will close, not in a couple of hours, at least in that session. Every now and then, you have a week like last week where it took several days for the gap to close. But the crude gap closed, the NQ gap closed, the Russell gap closed, the Dow gap closed, and the S&P gap closed. Then we had a short on gold right here. Stop out on crude oil. No trigger on the NQ, no trigger on the Russell, no on the Dow, no trigger on the ES. Week 136 is the week we're currently in. Now, last week, let me find last week. That's week 136. Should have a week 135. That's 136. That's 136. Week 135. Last week we had a total of 96 alerts. 16 never triggered. 80 actionable. 9 were stopped out. So we finished the week with 11% of actionable alerts stopped out. But remember, the average number is 20%. Okay. So just had a good week. That happens. Okay. So kind of just breezing through the individual alerts helps you to put this in perspective. What I just scanned through, starting last night, Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, we've sent out 38 alerts, 9 never triggered, still waiting on 1, 28 actionable, 3 stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade. Now, let me show you the other alerts, what they look like, and then we'll go to the charts. The Concierge Trade Alerts, which we've been publishing for 7, 8 years, it's a static report. It comes out shortly after the Globex open. So last night, 35 minutes after the markets opened, this report was posted for all of our members. It's this simple. You go to your chart and you draw a line in the sand at 38.73, and then you draw a line at 37.95. Okay. So if we did that and we drew a line at 38.73, we know that that is an important price, important area, and the market has to make up its mind. You know, is there enough buying pressure to keep this thing going? So on the very first trigger, we popped up 3 points. Then we got back below the trigger, and we popped up 1 3/4 points. And then we got back below the trigger, and we popped up 3 3/4 points. So 1, 2, 3 opportunities to get your goal for the day, basically. But price isn't really going anywhere. Okay, this is often the case. Number one, when an alert triggers, there's a higher probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. This CTA gave us 1, 2, gave us 1, 2, 3 triggers, 1 alert, 3 triggers, but it may not be done. We might get a 4th, a 5th, a 6th, depends on market structure. Now the other number is 37.95, and that number is down here. Okay. Now the purpose of putting these two lines on the sand, I published this last night at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. So that would be during the life of this candle, okay? So once you've drawn your lines in the sand, it's pretty easy to see that price is moving towards the short CTA number. You don't have to wait for price to get there because you'll have logic alerts along the way. And once you understand the strategy, then you don't need my stinking alert. You just go do exactly what I do. But this was a beautiful, right here, beautiful entry. Price closed on this candle, right? We consolidated, and then we closed right at a weekly trading zone from last week. And so as price took out this low, you could have entered this at roughly 38.26, and there was a 20-point trade down to the weekly trading zone. That's $1,000 per contract traded. 20 points at $50 a point. Now, we're not the woulda, coulda, shoulda people. Okay, there's a whole lot of that going on out there, and let me just caution you, anybody can look like a genius with a historic chart. That's why we always use real-time live data in the live training room. And when the alerts are issued, I build in time for you to get to your computer, get set up, get focused, get your thinking cap on, get your trading cap on, and be prepared to trade that alert in your demo or simulator account when you're new. We do not want you to jump in and trade real money right away. We want to teach you the strategy first. Last night it was posted, somebody posted about a trade they had, and somebody else said, well, I don't see an alert for that. And the answer was, well, no, it hasn't got to the alert yet. I was just doing what Dwayne teaches us to do. And that made me feel very proud because that is our goal. Number one, we want you to be family forever, but we want you to become self-sufficient. You should reach a point where you don't need me to tell you when to get in and when to get out. I'll keep publishing the alerts, but pretty soon, just like our trader last night, you'll see the opportunity yourself as clearly as I do. The reason I couldn't put out an alert on the trade he took, part of it was because it was counter trend, and only trend trades go in the alert channel. But number two, I wouldn't have had enough time to build in time for people to get there to put on the trade before it triggered. So once you get your 10 consecutive days in a row in the simulator, our blueprint gives you the green light to go live with one contract. Now your goal, your trading real money, is to increase your account balance by $2,000. Then you get the green light to add a second contract. The big difference between contract number one and contract number two, number one came out of your pocket, number two came out of the profits you earned trading one contract. So our blueprint will tell you when it's time to add number three, number four, number five. You only add one contract at a time. And you only add contracts with profit you earned in the market. Whenever you hit a rough patch, as a member, you have unlimited access to one-on-one mentoring. That doesn't mean you submit a support ticket and wait days for an answer to come back. And the answer just tells you, well, you need to buy another module so you won't have that problem. No. We have no upsells. We sell the passport. That's lifetime membership. That comes with 24/7, 365 support. When you need help, you get it from a real person. You can book a one-on-one mentoring session, which means you and I meet up in a room just like this, but instead of there being a room full of people, it's just me and you. You can see my charts. I can see your charts if you want me to. And if you've been struggling or hit a rough patch, we just walk through all of your trades together, dissect them, talk about them, figure out what happened, help get you back on track, help you get your confidence back. and then you step back out live wherever you left off. Once you go live, if you ever have 2 days in a row where you don't reach your goal in 10 trades or less, come out of the live, go back into the demo. That's not a walk of shame, it's a smart business decision. Book a session with me or Michael or Valerie or Bert and let us help you figure out what happened, why you don't have the profit available to finance adding the next contract. Now, when you start trading that one contract live in the beginning, after you pass the sim test, okay, one contract and 2 S&P points equals a whopping $100. Now, we laugh because we can't pay our bills with $100, but in Kenya and Uganda, $1,700 is the average annual income. So God says, despise not humble beginnings. But once you earn the right to trade 2 contracts, the same 2 points in the S&P is now $200. And once you earn the right to trade 5 contracts, the same 2 points is now worth $500. And by the time you earn the right to trade 10 contracts, the same 2 points is $1,000. Now, if you can consistently take 2 points a day out of the S&P, and you're patient and have enough self-discipline to follow the rules to actually earn the right to trade 10 contracts, that's $1,000 a day. And that puts you in some pretty heady communities, puts you in the top 3% of all wage earners worldwide. Now, that sounds awesome. Obviously, if it were easy, everybody would just do it, right? It's not easy. It can be simple if you let it be. But one of the reasons people have a hard time letting it be simple is because there's all these websites and emails and TV commercials that convince you how complicated the markets are and how you need all these different indicators and all these different oscillators, and you need to know the stochastics and the MACD and the RSI. You need to know the advanced decline line, the tick, the trend. Hey, I'm sure all of that stuff works just fine. I'm sure it does everything it was created to do. But with our simple strategy, all it would do is cause confusion, because price can only do one of 3 things. It can go up, it can go down, or it can go sideways. As futures traders, we don't care if it's up or down. Profit's the same. On the short side, sometimes profit comes a little quicker than the upside. And our indicators teach you how to stay out of that sideways market where you just get chopped to pieces and you see weeks or months of positive earnings go up in smoke. Price flows on a daily chart the same way it flows on a 1-minute chart. Price flows on a crude chart the same way it flows on a pork belly chart. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, back to support. Our indicators, our zones, and our strategy allow you to always know what the next high probability move is. Right here, what's the next high probability move? Simple. Price is trying to get to the weekly zone overhead, 3880/81. Only 3 things happen at a weekly trading zone. The most likely thing is consolidation, which you see there, and there, and there, and there. The second most likely thing is called rejection, okay? Price comes down, touches the zone, and gets rejected. So that when the 30-minute candle closes, the only thing left touching the zone is the wick. The third and least likely thing, but it happens, it's called the slice. Now, here's an example of a slice, but it's not a good example because we just touched it. right? In a perfect example, there would be no previous touch. Price would just slice through the zone like it's not even there. Then what typically happens is price will retrace to the zone it sliced through, and then it will continue in the direction of the slice. This was our CTA number to start thinking only short trades, but we never breached it. And this, remember, 20% of the time, the market does something other than the next high probability thing. That's what it did right here. On this pull up, we would expect that to be resistance and a continuation in the direction of the trend. So that's a 20%er right there. Didn't happen. Now, the high probability move, once we were up here, was to the zone. But we haven't taken action. We haven't put out an alert. We've got to let this play out. So when you're writing your business plan and your trading plan, okay, 9 out of 10 traders don't have a business plan and a trading plan. And that's part of why 9 out of 10 traders fail. There are 2 critical documents. You must have them, yet 9 out of 10 new traders don't. Our blueprint that we give you when you become a member, it walks you through writing your business plan, writing your trading plan. They're 2 very different documents. It's not a project you do over the course of an afternoon. While you're putting together your 10 consecutive days in a row, you're working on your business plan, working on your trading plan, because these are the rules, the laws that you're going to live by. I mean, you are building your business from the ground up, and you want to make sure that you put a solid foundation underneath your business if it's going to stand the test of time. Okay. Another quick look at the daily chart. See that green body growing? That's price trying to make another run at that important number that we highlighted. Just can't. Now, price is starting to walk sideways. You see how the step line was on the left side all the way up? Price steps over, steps up, steps over, steps up. But right here, it stepped over, stepped over. Price has now gone from the left side to the right side of blue and climbing. The first red candle, if you're in a long trade here, the first red candle that closes below the step line, after it crosses over, that is the price you want to exit that trade, because the move has run out of steam and it's signaling you that the next high probability move, if we close below this step line, then the high probability move is that we pull back to the VBC, which we expect to be support to give us another leg to the upside. Okay. So you could have been long, just like my guy last night who said, hey, I'm just doing what Dwayne teaches us. When price got back above the VBC and we took out those swing highs, beautiful entry would have been about 38.37. Okay. And then as long as the step line stays on the left side of blue and climbing, there's no reason to get out of the trade. It's, yeah, but you had a final target, because I have to put a final target, and it's always the zone overhead. This one hasn't got to the zone overhead yet, but we may be about to get an exit signal. So had you entered back here, based on what we teach you at 38.37, your exit signal could be 38.67, somewhere in that area. So it's at about 30 points, $50 a point, $1,500 per contract traded. Okay. All right. So real quick, let's do the Dow. The Concierge Trade Alerts last night for the Dow was to be long 31,920. I think we had a logic alert at the same price. 31,920. There we go. Now remember, when this report comes out, you go put these two lines on your chart. 31,920. Okay. And from 31,920, we're going to swing high at 32,083. So that would be 80 and 80. That's 100. That's 160 points. I don't do public math anymore without my calculator. 160 points at $5 per point. That would be $800 per contract traded. Okay. If you got in here at 31,920 per the CTA, and you got out at the exact swing high, which is pretty tough to do, $800 per contract move. No exit signal yet. Okay, it's still climbing. It's another thing we'll help you learn how to stay in a trade that is actually beneficial. Yes.
Would you check your YouTube microphone, please? I just heard from a couple of guys that they're not hearing you on YouTube.
Oh boy, did I blow it again? I probably did. Yep. I'm so sorry, guys. Doggone it. Can you upload today, Valerie? Please. I forgot to open the mic on YouTube. I'm really, really sorry, guys. I need some kind of flashing lights. I need a studio engineer. I need something. All right. So everybody understands. We had one trigger, 31,920, took us up to 965. That's 45 points at $5 a point. It's $225 per contract traded. Then price got back below the trigger, did it again. This is an $800 per contract move so far. Once you've earned the right to trade 2 contracts, that's a $1,600 move. And by the time you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, it's an $8,000 move. What you're looking at right there. Again, if it were easy, everybody would do it. It's not easy, but it can be simple. We've worked very hard over the years to take something that everybody tells you is so horribly complicated, and they just hate us because we've broken it down to the lowest common denominator. We've showed you that it can be simple. We call out live trades in real time, in the morning, on the go, all around the clock. We just tell you the truth about trading, because once you become a member, we don't have else to sell you. Maybe some t-shirts or something. You could like have something else to sell. You know what? I managed sales companies all of my life. I either owned it or ran it. With no previous experience, I came out of the Navy as a young man and I had no experience. So the only jobs out there with no experience were sales jobs. So I fell into that, and you know, I'm a man of a certain age now. I don't have any pitch left in me. Okay. My whole life I worked on commission, override, whatever you call it, in whatever industry you were in. Okay. One time I had a salary, and that was, my accountant told me that one of the companies I was running, that I needed to start paying myself a salary so that there wouldn't be such tax consequences at the end of the year. And so I did. And but other than that, I mean, some people have that entrepreneurial kind of spirit, and some don't. That doesn't make you bad or wrong or anything, not at all. Just know who you are, know what you're cut out for, what kind of personality you have. You know, if it comes to trading is not the solution for every person, but trading can be the solution, I believe, for anyone who can do simple math and who's willing to go through all the steps, okay? All the steps I've outlined today. You know, writing that business plan, writing that trading plan, getting your consecutive days in a row in the simulator, only going live with one contract, increasing the account balance. If you're willing to exercise that kind of patience and discipline, then I think we can teach you how to be a fast chart, range chart trader, like Michael teaches you every morning, or the slow-paced stuff that I do on a 30-minute chart. You have to decide during those days that you're writing your business plan and trading plan. That's when you'll be deciding who you want to be when you come out the other end.
And it is possible to be both, you know.
Yeah, you know, it really is. And I had this conversation with a guy the other day in a mentoring session. He said, Dwayne, you know, I get my points like right away every morning. And he's just about to come out of sim. He said, is there any way I could just keep trading? I'd really like to practice. And I said, of course, take your journal, okay, and everybody should have a journal, and make a journal entry. Okay, today, Monday, the 8th of March, I reached my goal at 9:52 a.m. Eastern. I was trading crude. I got in here, got out here, blah, 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 blah. This is the end of my official trading day. You know, take a walk around the block, clear your head, come back, sit down, and practice for a few hours. In the simulator, nobody's judging you. Nobody's keeping track. When you say you've got 10 days and want to go live, you don't have to prove anything to us. We trust you because it's your account, it's your money. I mean, if you fib to us, you're only hurting yourself, and we don't want you to do that. And always be honest when we have mentoring sessions. And I don't mean that anybody here is dishonest. I just mean that sometimes our ego, sometimes we can be a little shamed, a little embarrassed because we've screwed up, made a mistake, whatever. Man, we are not here to judge you. We're here to help. And so we have 45 minutes for each session. So just spit it out, whatever it is, right at the beginning, you know, and then I'll help you sort it, pick up the pieces, and we'll put it back together. And then you'll get your confidence back, and then you'll pick up right where you left off, okay? You're only as sick as your secrets. So do not keep secrets from me and Michael. Just tell us the truth so we can truly help you. Okay, buddy, you're gonna continue with the
I'll continue on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I actually called my neighbor because Jada was out too. So it wasn't just in here, it was my whole house. And my neighbor was okay, but he uses a different provider. And then mine came back up and then his went down. So I don't know, maybe it's going house by house.
Check this out. I stumbled across this last night. I've been waiting on Elon Musk to come out with Starlink product.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one that gives you internet anywhere on the planet, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Well, I
probably
found,
other planets.
I found this thing. Okay, it's called a Night Gear Nighthawk MR 5200. The Netgear Nighthawk Wi-Fi 6 portable router is the fastest mobile hotspot money can buy, delivering the sort of speed that most broadband users can only dream of. Simple to operate and supports dozens of simultaneous connections. And now it's a little bit pricey. It's $799 in euros, or what's the L? What's the L? Not euros, but
Lira.
It is the euro?
No, it's Lira.
Lira. Okay.
Yeah.
Lira. Yeah, you're right. Now.
So that's not actually that much.
No, it's really not. And okay, so you buy the hub and the accompanying 24-month unlimited 5G plan for about $100 extra. In the US, it can be purchased directly from Netgear for under $700. Okay, now here's the thing that I had a hard time. Where does it tell this? Using the popular and usually reliable fast.com speed service, we achieve speeds of up to 570 megabits per second using this product. Now, you got to have 5G in your area. And so I posted a map of all the different places in the world that have 5G. So with this device and a 5G unlimited internet connection, you can have $600-700 megabits per second internet speed. So that thing I've always said about wherever you move in the world, if you want to be a trader, you just got to make sure you have fast, reliable internet service. Well, that's changed now. With this little device, you need reliable 5G service. And I mean, that's twice as fast as what I run the flight deck here with. I only have 300 megs. I got 300 up and 20 down.
Let me check mine right now to see what I
No, I'm
have.
sorry, I got 300 down and 20 up. Yeah, let me check mine. See what I got cooking under the hood right now. I use speedtest.net.
Yeah, I'm waiting for mine to connect right now.
Wow, when it takes this long to connect, that's usually
I know.
really
Well,
good.
I think it's on their end, the whole connection thing, because I'm still waiting for it to connect too.
I'm clicking in at about 190, 200. I can't remember if I pay for 200 or 300. Maybe I just
I
paid for 200.
Right
so that
now
was my
it's
download. Most people don't have to worry about upload. Download is where you're pulling in your charts. But for me, the upload part is where I'm actually broadcasting and pushing all this information out to the world. So
yeah.
I can do the upload speed.
My download is 171,
Okay.
and my
That's
upload
good.
is 9.
Is how
But
How
the
much
upload
is
is
it?
only 9 for me.
9. I was at my sister-in-law's house. She lives way out in West Phoenix. Tim lives out in that area. And we ran a speed test on Tim's phone, and his download was 1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
Wow. Yeah,
That's
I've had
slower than
that in
ours.
hotels before. I've had that in hotels before.
So I'm going to start saving my spare change, and I'm going to get me one of these Nighthawk things, but I got to check in my phone. I don't know, I got like an iPhone 6 or 7. It's not 5G compatible.
Well, it says right here in the ad that came up with my speedtest.net, 5G internet near you, 5G internet and networks are here. Find out more. These popular searches. Let me hit open on this.
Well, I'm thinking if I buy that device which reads 5G, maybe my phone doesn't even have to be 5G, just because it's that box that's catching the internet, I think.
Well, I'm looking, I think we use Spectrum.
Spectrum.
You know, our phones are Verizon, but it says right here, Verizon's got it here. But our phone,
We tested the device
Spectrum.
using an unlimited 5G data SIM card from 3. As always, your mileage will vary. Results may not apply to you given the large amount of variables. You can connect 32 devices to this thing at one time.
Peak speeds more than 2 gigabytes per second.
I'm thinking this beats the pants off of this Elon Musk deal. If you can find,
Now in 60 cities and counting.
Where is 5G available? I want to see, T-Mobile, what do we got?
Yeah, right here, where is 5G available? You said we lead on 5G, and we are. Major cities including Los Angeles, Denver, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, Boston, Washington. See map above for full list. Oh, it's got your city.
Does it?
Yeah, and it doesn't have the map that it mentioned.
I'm just going map 5G global coverage.
It's got my old city, my last city.
Tracking 5G. Oh, Boston.
Yeah.
Okay, this 5G tracks 5G rollouts in cities across the globe, updated weekly. Okay, so Uganda looks like we got a ways to go. Here's all of Africa. Here's Kenya. So not exactly sure what these numbers mean. 5G at this location. Multiple 5G deployments in this area. Oh, okay, so that means there's lots. Okay, and where's America? Okay, this is near me, 1.9 thousand. So, yeah, this is, I just stumbled across this last night. I've been tracking that Starlink thing. I signed up for the beta. They never picked me. Got my feelings hurt. Signed up again. They didn't pick me. So it's a real game changer, I think. So anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me grab the stuff back, and
Okay.
I'll finish up over here.
I'll be here when you're done.
Okay. Be right there. There we go. Did I open the spreadsheet? I did. Did I open this? I did not. Okay, so I was going through gold. Not sure that it said, yeah, good, it did. Okay, I was just finishing up with gold. This is where everything locked up on me. I was talking about this move up right here, and how we had another move up that was similar to that earlier. Anyway, since then you can see what it's done. We had a long trade there, a long trade there, and one little short trade right here. Not much more to go on after that. All right, so crude will come on. Here it goes. All right. So on the crude, right here we had a shorting opportunity. Over here we had another one. Right in there, we actually took one, and we took, it looks like 3 ticks profit on that first one. Okay. Then finally in here, we got another one, took another 3 ticks profit to put us at +6, then 2 to put us at +8. Then here we took 5 to put us at +13. Then break even there, 3 there to put us at +16. Then finally we had a decent trade. Oh, we missed that one, but we picked up 10 ticks there to put us at +26. 2 more there to put us at +28. Okay, let's see, right through here. Let's see, there was a shorting opportunity right in here. And one last one here during the break. So that was it on crude. Now, there wasn't a ton of opportunity on crude, but you know, there was a good opportunity when it was there, when it presented itself. It was pretty good and tradable opportunity. Let me scroll back here. This is the ES, and we had a bunch of trades on the ES today. So let's start right out with that one. Okay, now on this leg up here, I don't know why I wasn't trading it, but there was some moves here on this leg up, right there and there and there and there. It is today, right? Yeah. See, there were some shorting opportunities right through here. Where did I start trading the ES? Way over here. Now, my first trade on the ES, I picked up 2 ticks. My second trade, I picked up 4 ticks. That put us at +6. Then I picked up another 4 ticks to put us at +10. Then I picked up 10 ticks to put us at +26. Then I had this long trade right here to put us at +42. That was 16 ticks to put us at +42. Then we had a break even, and let's see, we had from 46, we had a 4 tick trade to put us up to 48. then a break even, then we had another break even. Looks like a couple of small trades in here that I don't seem to have logged. 58 to 62, 62 to 64. We had a 10 tick trade. Went from 48 to 58, then to 62, then to 64. I think those are right in here. And then we get into the break. The ES was pretty active today. It was bouncing all over the place, and it was doing pretty much what it should do, but it was really jumpy and choppy. You know, I was looking at other markets today, like the Russell and the YM, and the Russell was moving around so fast, the DOM couldn't even keep up with it. You know, it wasn't able to paint the numbers in the DOM. It was moving around so fast. So that was it for the morning session. All right, so let's go back to the spreadsheet. Now, if you're going to look at the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, that's not today. That's today. Okay, so here we go. Today's the 8th day of March, 2021. We made 28 ticks in crude, 43 ticks in gold, 64 ticks on the ES. Puts it plus $1,510 on the morning session. Today it took 6 minutes and 3 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 27 trades. So on the month now, we're up $7,992. That's over 6 trading days, averaging $1,332 per contract per trading day. We've now gone 43 out of 44 possible days of getting our goal. And on the year, we're at $39,477 per contract per 2-hour trading day. That's over 44 days, averaging $897 per contract per 2-hour trading day. Now, if you've not taken the free trial and you want to, go to the homepage at CFRN, scroll down to where it says free 5-day trial, click on that, and be brought here to eminitrainingschool.com. On this page, all that will be asked for is your first name, your email, your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge, so we can tailor one-on-one training just for you. Hit the send button, and you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on that confirmation link, okay? If you don't click on that link, we don't know that you took the free trial. There. Okay, and with that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you're ready to take it back.
Yes, sir. I am ready.
Okay.
And that was some good stuff.
It's.
Let me just get my. There it is. There it is.
That idea of the walk around the neighborhood, that sounds pretty good right now. Sunny and about 60 outside.
See, I've been trying to get 10,000 steps every day, and the weather's been perfect for it. But the past week, yesterday, I got about 20 minutes out and came back in the house, and my wife's like, "You didn't get 10,000 steps." I said, "No, I got tired and hot." I said, I got to rethink my day here, because I was taking off like right after the show, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, my time. And yeah, that's not going to work anymore. So
I've been putting a new roof outside over the lower deck out back, and metal roofing is really hard, especially if you're not starting off with something that's really square. And I redid the whole roof, not just the metal part, but I took all the wood down. I redid all the wood.
Oh, wow.
And then
that's a big project.
Yeah, and then I put all the metal up there, and and it's not square. It's shaped as a trapezoid. It's off by 6 inches on one way and 7 inches the other way, and one corner is 3 inches lower than the other corner. And so yeah, I'm trying to make up for all of this. Well, that's what I was.
How do you fix it?
A little bit at a time, and then you get to that last brace, that last corner piece that you're trying to put in, and that's where you got to make up for everything that you couldn't make up for in the beginning. I started out with a very unsquare thing, and I did my best to get it as square as I could and make it look as normal as I can. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know if you didn't look at it. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. But it's that last corner that I put in last night. I must have done it over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm glad Jada bought extra braces, because I wrecked 2 of them while I was putting them on. And yeah, but that part of it is done for now. We'll see. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the real estate market like around you? Is it heating up, cooling off?
It's been hot. You know, the houses here, they're on the market for days, not weeks.
And they sell for more than the asking price?
Yeah. Yep. And we have one, you know, one of our partners, Hal, is interested in one that's just about done that has a for sale by owner sign out in front of it. I took a picture of it. I'm going to send it to them because they're actually, the owner's trying to sell it because it's, you know, things are going so fast they don't need real estate agents. And I think that's the last lot here in my neighborhood that's buildable. I think. Or the last one that's for sale that's buildable anyway. So, you know, the last house before that was built, went on the market last year, and that one sold. That one sold pretty quick, but they wanted quite a bit of money for that one. And then the one right before that sold in just a couple of days, and it was only on the market. You know, it was on the market for just a couple of days, and it was priced up above where normal prices were selling here. So the market's pretty hot. As a matter of fact, there's another family that we know that they never even put their house on the market. Their neighbor just said they wanted to buy it. And
Wow.
So,
well, my sister-in-law, who is a real estate agent, I was talking with her over the weekend. We had a dinner thing.
mm-hmm.
And she said her problem is inventory.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not enough houses on the market, and that just keeps driving, you know, price higher. And we've got all these people flooding in from California and from the tech companies up around Seattle. They want to get away from that whole political mindset. They want to get away from the high prices and the earthquakes, and there's a lot of reasons.
The fires and
the West Coast, and a lot of people coming to Phoenix, and it's making Phoenix homes unaffordable for people who, you know, lived in Phoenix all of their life and have an ordinary job, not some, you know, high-paying tech job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really making it difficult.
Yeah.
What I would love to do is to find a plot of land somewhere, you know, 20, 30 acres, and do a master planned community of those tiny houses, they call them. Because the millenniums, they really seem to like, not every millennium wants to live in a tiny house, but a lot of them seem to be attracted to it. You can build one, you know, from the ground up. Tim's an expert on that. In fact, part of his original coming back here from Bali was he was going to set up a business where they would ship all of the teak. They use teak wood to build them. They were going to ship the wood here, and he would assemble them. But there's zoning laws and different things to deal with. He said the ideal thing would be to find an old mobile home park that you could just like drag out all the old mobile homes, and with that zoning, you could put in your tiny houses. And I mean, a tiny house is bigger than a one-bedroom apartment in New York City, which rents for about $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I realize this isn't New York City, but anyway. All right, my friend. Well, let me finish up with my part, and I'll see you here on the internet.
All right, that sounds good. We'll see you.
All right, guys. This chart we're looking at, final target. Remember, we talked about it earlier. It was this alert right here. 31,920. Now it was published at 8:23 a.m. Mountain Standard. That would make it 10:23 a.m. Eastern. So if we go over here and find, this is the 10 o'clock candle. So it was during the life of this candle that the alert was published. Because as you can see, my charts are set up to East Coast time. So as price rose up here, this candle's about to close, an alert comes out 7 minutes before we get a new candle, okay? And then here's what happens. You trigger in at 31,920, and then the initial target is 31,940. That initial target is designed to give you your goal for the day if that's all you're looking for, okay? So the Dow pays $5 a point, so it'd be $20 a point. 20 times 5 is $100. And then the next target was 32,160, which is this yellow line. And then the final trade to target is the weekly trading zone overhead. And this week we have a weekly trading zone at 31,785/31,790 right here. Now you had an initial entry 31,920 to 31,950. That's 30 points, $5 a point, $150 per contract traded. And then price got back below the trigger. Not only do alerts trigger multiple times, but typically on the second and third and other triggers, it will require less risk using market structure. Less risk and higher profit potential. So from the entry, if you just took it all as one trade, maybe you didn't take the first leg and then come back and take the second trigger, second tree. Here's a retracement, here's the second trigger, okay? So from 31,920 to 32,114, okay, 32,114 minus the entry price, 31,920. That's 194 points. The Dow pays $5 per point. So if you're still in it or got out at the swing high, that move from here to here is $970 per contract. If you just did that 5 times, that would pay for this. Our passport's $5 grand, lifetime membership. Now, somebody in the audience probably said, oh, $5 grand? Well, come on. How much have you already spent at $29 here, $99 here, $149 here? You know, it adds up quick. And I know that many of you in the audience really stepped up to bat because they had such a professional website and the ad copy was so compelling. I mean, they convinced you with their ad copy why their thing, whatever it was worth 20 grand or 50 grand. I have students who paid 50 grand to a certain company to teach them how to trade, and those people ended up on our doorstep, beaten, battered, bruised, darn near broke, and said, could you teach me how to trade, please? And the answer, of course, is always yes. You know, we don't discriminate against anybody for any reason. So we've had people spend phenomenal sums of money, and at the end of the day, I guess it would still be worth it if they had actually learned how to trade. But they never quite take that final step, either because they don't know how, or they want to keep you on the hook. Hey, we got him for 50 grand this year, maybe we get him for another 50 next year, and 50 the year after that. See, the solution to the problem is always to buy more stuff. We don't have any more stuff. We have the passport, which includes everything we do, everything we've ever done, and anything we might do in the future. We've been doing this since April of 2005. Okay. Michael and I are passionate, and Valerie, we're passionate about the markets. Okay. We enjoy the business of trading. It gives us personal satisfaction when we see someone who has struggled and struggled and struggled finally become successful at the business of trading. That means a lot. But hear me out. It is a business, okay? And we have to treat it like a business. The more you treat something like a business, the more it will behave like a business. So yes, we get personal satisfaction. It feels good to help somebody. To help somebody and get paid for helping them, that feels really good. And people always want to know, well, gee, if you could really do this. Well, what do you mean if? We trade live in the room and we send the reports out around the clock before they trigger. So you have plenty of time to trade it if you want to or not. So that just becomes sort of a ridiculous statement. But since you can do all this, why do you waste time teaching people? Again, there is the personal satisfaction, but you know, I just need you to understand it's a business, okay? I treat you like family, but it's a business. We treat each other like family, but it's a business. It's an income stream. It's biblical that a man should have multiple income streams. And I believe the more income streams you can have in your field of expertise, the better off you are. Like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He has all kind of income streams built around real estate. I mean, there's buyers of real estate and sellers of real estate, and there's title agents, and there's mortgage brokers, and home insurance. I mean, you can build plenty of income streams around some field of endeavor that you really know a lot about. If you choose to become a trader, okay, could you too build multiple income streams around your trading activities? Sure. I mean, all things are possible. So that's always a big stickler with people. Nah, well, yeah, if it worked, you wouldn't be wasting your time. You just, you know, well, we're not saying we're going to do it forever. I mean, we're both men of a certain age, but, you know, it's not time for either one of us to retire. And we certainly will make sure that everyone under our roof learns everything we can possibly teach them. In fact, I would probably say, just looking forward, we would probably stop accepting new students probably a year before we decided to, if we were going to retire, kind of a thing, if we were going to stop doing everything we do, we'd probably stop taking students and then commit our time and energy on whoever still needs to learn for that final year. But again, we're passionate about the market. So even if we didn't do things 10 years from now in the same format that we do them now, I think we'd still both be dabbling some kind of way. You with me? Now, let me say this. If you sign up for the mentoring, okay, which is the class every day, that's okay, and we still allow you to do that. But just remember, it does not include the alerts, not the logic, not the concierge. So in the discussion group, you're going to hear people going, got my points, got my goal, and you're going to be sitting there going, So if that applies to you, okay, if your decision, whoever you might be, if your decision to go with just the mentoring package and not the full, if it's a money issue, rather than sell yourself short and buy half a passport, if you could call it that, talk to Valerie, who's really very nice, see if she couldn't work out maybe some payments with you or something, because I really want you to get the full benefit of everything we do. When you're staring at that chart and you don't have Michael's voice telling you what to do, what are you going to do? Well, every time your telephone or your PC or your Mac makes that sound, that telegram sound, it's not a call to trade, it's a call to go look at your chart. Read the alert and then see if you can see with your own eyes the window of opportunity. And then trade it in sim till you get your 10 days in a row. The more times you repeat that process, the alarm sounds, you go to your chart, you read the alert, you study the chart, and you see it. And pretty soon you're like, Eureka, hey honey, I actually see it. Pretty soon you start seeing it before I can even get it typed in. Because we teach everybody the same thing. The same method, same strategy, same indicators. So once you come into our discussion group in Telegram, that's the live conversation, 24/7, 365. You'll hear everybody using our little language, buzz terms like BBC, Bull Bear Cross, WTZ, Weekly Trading Zone, but there aren't that many of them. And within a week's time, you'll pick them up, okay? So we believe in no trader left behind, and I don't ever want it to be because of money that a trader gets left behind. At $49.97, that's the exact price of the passport, okay? You get your money's worth, okay? I just want to see you get it all. So if it's a financial thing, talk to us, okay? We know this pandemic has hit a lot of people hard. People have lost jobs, and some people don't know if they're going to have a job to go back to. No better time than now to learn if you have what it takes to become a trader. I said earlier, I think anyone who can do some fast math in their head, okay, and is pretty computer literate, if you'll just put in the time, I think you can learn enough to get your 2 points a day, or 10 ticks in Crude, or whatever adds up to $100 per contract per day. I do honestly believe that anyone who applies themselves, you could read, do some fast math in your head, and are computer literate, we love to help you, okay? And again, no trader left behind, so please, if it's a financial thing, don't be embarrassed. Talk to us about it. Let us see if we can't figure out a way to help you, okay? All right, I think we've covered just about everything we need to cover today. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat box. Let's just see if any of these markets did anything. This is where I drew that head and shoulders on silver earlier today. Now, from the top of the head to this wacky neckline I drew, I know some people would just draw it across here. Others would do it like this. So let's say we did it the way a lot of people would do it, like that. Okay, so then we take from the top of the head, and I didn't want it to do that. I want it to be finite. Okay, so from the top of the head to the neckline, see what I did? I drew a line, a vertical line from the top of the head to the neckline. So now I'm going to grab that line and I'm going to place it on the neckline. And so the way the head and shoulders pattern reads in most technical analysis 101 books is that if this neckline is broken, and I drew it both ways for you, the one I just drew could send silver down to, if the neckline's broken, we could see 24.45. That's almost $5,000 per contract. Now, if I use the other neckline from the top of the head to this slanted line. That would send price all the way down to here. Okay, so we'll call that 23.90. At 24.90, that's $5,000 per contract traded, $1 move. High margins, very volatile, be careful. Okay. But if you ever wondered what a head and shoulders looks like, it's just, they're always a bit Picasso-ish, you know, shoulder, shoulder, head. And of course, there are reverse head and shoulders where it's the same thing, just turned upside down. Sounded like somebody just sent me a message. What does it say? Okay. So that's the story on silver. Let's take a look at gold again real quick. Okay, bearish cross, price pulled away, price pulled back to physically touch, down close. And if you entered on the open of this candle, which was 1691, 91 to 71, that would be $2,000 per contract traded. But it hasn't got quite that far yet. But it looks like it may continue lower. If buyers come in and bid it up to this zone, the BBC coming down, price coming up, they meet up right here. That gives us that leg. So let's look again at BES. Boy, it really hit a brick wall there. This week's zone is at 3880/81. Zones are an area. Boy, this proves it. Closest we got was 3878.75. So it was 1 1/4 points or 5 ticks from actually touching the zone. So I said if we closed below the yellow line, then chances are we would pull back to the BBC where we expect good support and a rally. It's possible support could come in right here off these two lows. How will you know support has come in? Because in 13 minutes, you're going to get a new candle. These are 30-minute candles. And if that new candle starts printing green, well, there you go. There you go. Okay, so that's the S&P. Peek back at the Dow. Okay, the Dow made it, did a spectacular job. It just hasn't made it to the final target. Russell. Okay, the Russell hit last week's zone 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And now you see how it's pulling back to the BBC. We expect that to be good support. And if it is, I will publish an alert to take us back up to this week's zone at 2224/25. They got hung up at last week's zone. Remember, the first few days of the week, the previous week's zones are still important. I just make them yellow on my chart. The gray ones are the current weekly zones. So we could have a nice trade setup coming here on the Russell. If so, I'll put it in the alert channel. What else we got? NQ. Remember this morning, those words I said about the NQ possibly being the leader to the downside, or maybe that was last night. Oh, I did that daily NQ chart. Let's look at that. We talked about that earlier. We went from the top to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom, and we said that when price gets back to the middle of the channel, according to Technical Analysis 101, it's a 50-50 coin flip. if it'll continue to the top or return to the bottom. We believe that dynamic resistance is at the BBC. So, but we're below the BBC, so we anticipate lower prices. So in this case, it could do a couple of things. It could pop, but look at all this resistance. It's got to overcome red and falling, got to overcome the step line. I'm a big believer in the path of least resistance. Big believer. 12,348. Well, yeah, from 348 to 338, it's 200 bucks. Let's just call it 12,350. Down to 12,250. That's 100 points at $20 a point. That's $2,000 per contract. Just make sure you don't trade live until you put together 10 consecutive days in sim, and then only go live with one. I know it's tempting, but if you're going to become a consistently profitable trader, you've got to master patience and self-discipline. So very important. So here's the NQ taking out a zone from last week. The next zone from this week is down below at 12,309. I need to color those other ones in yellow. 12,309. Okay. So if price closes below this zone from last week, then we have a window of opportunity right here. Okay, we would want to get out before those lows, unless it was just a strong momentum move, and then we might stay with it. But we expect there to be potential support right there. But if price can get through that window is 44 down to 406. Let's call it 40. That's 40 points at $20 a point. That's $800 per contract traded. And then if price can take out this support, then we have another window of opportunity, which would be basically 374 down to 324, 50 points, $20 a point, $1,000 per contract traded. And by the time we talk again tomorrow on this radio program, I feel confident that this window of opportunity will be closed. And I think there's a high probability this window will be closed. Here's what I think is coming bigger picture. Now, we're technical traders. We trade what's in front of us, but just from a big idea, fundamental point of view, I think we're going to see a very steep correction in equities, stocks. I think we're going to see a rally in the metals and in the cryptos. Okay. When money comes out of stocks, it has to go somewhere. Sometimes it goes to bonds, sometimes those are seen as safe haven investments, but quite often it goes to precious metals. And I think we're starting to see that more and more as crypto becomes more widely accepted and adopted, that is becoming considered a safe haven investment as well. The question is, will money flowing into Bitcoin prevent gold from reaching some of the high prices that have been speculated at for years? And the answer to that question is, I honestly don't know. But there's more to cryptocurrency than just owning a coin. Once you own a coin, whatever coin it is, you can do things like it's called staking, which, to put it in English, would be like how you go to the bank and get a CD. You got X amount of money and you tell the banker, I'd like to get a 3-month CD or a 12-month CD. And so they give you a little bit better interest rate but you can't touch your money for 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever the terms are of your CD. Okay, you can do the same thing with crypto on different exchanges. You're allowed to stake, they call it staking. So you've got these crypto coins, you can just put them on a stick and put it in a safe and hope it appreciates over time, or you can leave it on the exchange, invest it in one of these yield farms, as they're called, and that way you're earning interest. And I'm talking like 7% interest, 12% interest. I've seen 24% interest, potentially. There's no guarantee, but that's the potential interest rate you could return. And your coin, which you still own, you just can't access it for a certain period of time, but you still own it. And hopefully it's appreciating in value as you're earning interest on it. So see right there, buying crypto, we just created 2 income streams out of one act. The buying of the crypto and then putting it in a yield form to draw interest. And it just goes on and on from there, okay? So the beautiful thing about being a trader, especially a futures trader, markets trade around the clock. You can trade from anywhere on planet Earth. All you need is reliable internet and a decent computer, okay? Get an i9 chip if you can afford it, but you must have an i7 chip. Get 32 gigs of RAM, and then some decent monitors that you're able to travel with, and you can set up shop wherever you go. You know, I've been talking a lot in the discussion group channel lately about I enjoy trading the London session. I would really like to trade the London session from London. And so what's stopping me? You know, I don't know what the whole quarantine business is, but I mean, I do have the studio, and I've still got to figure out how I make my studio mobile so that I can still do the broadcast and everything. But I think I've got that part worked out. My son just got promoted at Amazon. He turned 18 last year. He'll be 19 in 2 months. And he's a blue badge. That's what they call it at Amazon. It means he was hired as a seasonal worker for Christmas, but he showed up every day on time. Yes, sir, no, sir, the way we raised him. And last night they promoted him. They made him a full-time employee, health benefits, everything. And they go, and on top of that, we're going to give you the night off and pay you for it. So he calls and gives us the news, and we offered to go and pick him up and help him celebrate. But, you know, with him to watch over the home, take care of the animals, we could actually embrace the things we were planning to do before God told us his plans, which is you're going to adopt these children, which we gladly did. So we don't know what the future holds. We don't even know if there'll be a tomorrow, guys, not to be depressing. So let's you and I make an agreement right here, right now, to make the most out of today. Let's plan for tomorrow, but let's live today like it's our very last. Amen. All right, here we come down through that window. Okay. I'll leave this up and running, but we need to get to our good word for the day so we can wrap up this program. And thanks for giving me the heads up on the audio on YouTube. I just don't know why I keep doing that to myself, but thankfully Valerie records in the background, and if she did today, we'll upload a better version. Okay. Good word for the day. Trying to remember, last week we were talking about being creative. And I think we got up through day 2 of that conversation. Be fruitful and multiply, Genesis 1:28. Your heavenly Father created the world and you are made in his image. That means you are wired to think creatively. God finished his creative work in 6 days, then our work began. God said, in essence, I've provided you with all the resources and talents you need to have an abundant life. Now do something good with it. The sheep he made give wool, from which we create beautiful fabrics in differing colors for warm outfits to protect us in cold weather. God didn't make cheese. Okay, he made wool, but he didn't make cheese. There'll be a test later. He made cows that gave milk so that we could create dairy products like cheese. It's sort of like he didn't create Emini Futures. He created the S&P 500 index, and then man turned that into a derivative. Okay, bad analogy. Just you strike that from the record. Thank you. The Bible describes the beginning of all things in these words. Then God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply. The word multiply means that God wants you to end up with more than you started out with. But to do that, you must begin to think creatively. But now think about that. We know that Jesus said, God said, go forth and multiply. So it's like your dad up in the stands rooting for you on game day. It's like your coach, rooting for you in training and on game day. They're pumped, man. They want so much to see you succeed, whether it means you catch the football or throw the football or tackle somebody twice your size. Man, they're rooting for you. God is up in the stands rooting for you. And he's also standing right beside you because he says, whatever you go through, I'll go through it with you. Whoa, who else is going to ever make you that kind of promise? Whatever you're going through, I'll be right there with you. The word multiply means God wants you to end up with more than you start out with. But to do that requires creative thinking. And that's what this multi-day discussion is about, being creative. Okay. Instead of simply accepting what is, you need to take what is and make something more out of it. I mean, we often say things like, well, when my ship comes in, I'm going to do this, or when I have this much money, then I'm going to donate to that place, or, when blah, blah happens, then I'm going to do blah, blah, right? I got big news for you. That's not how God's kingdom works. God's kingdom is like this. God says, show me that you can be faithful in the little things. I'll make you ruler over big things. So if you're sitting on the couch waiting for your ship to come in, remind yourself you live in a desert, right? No ships coming in today. But seriously, in what area of your life are you waiting for God to make the first move? Now you might go, well, gee, I mean, I want to do this, this, and this, but I don't have any resources. Oh, I bet you do. I bet you do. Remember when the prophet came to the woman's house, the woman only had enough oil and flour to make herself and her son some cakes, and then they were just going to lay up and die because that was all they had. And here comes this stranger, this prophet, to her door, and he says, ma'am, please make me some of those biscuits and gravy too. And she told him her story, it's all I've got, and blah, 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 me and my son, and then we're going to die. He said, or you could make me some biscuits and gravy. God said. So he got her with the God said part. So she made him, with the flour and a little bit of oil she had, she made him something to eat. Lo and behold, there was enough flour and oil left for her and her son to eat. Not just that day, but day after day after day. You all know the story. How's that possible? That's God's kingdom. She stepped out in faith. She believed that she went from a place of lack, a mentality of lack where I don't have enough. She stepped into a place where she could actually believe that God would meet all of her needs according to his riches in glory. 80% of the people in the world don't have a bank account. They don't even have a little dish on the night table by their bed with spare change in it. So by comparison, you may not have a lot of resources. You may not have what your neighbor has, but you got a whole lot more than what somebody else has. And so then people get into this thinking of, well, yeah, I've got $1. I mean, if I pitched in 50 cents, what difference is that going to make? That ain't going to help anybody. Well, number one, you don't know that. And number two, it's not about the dollar amount. Remember in the temple when the old widow lady came in and all she had was the equivalent of like 2 pennies. She put it in the offering. Clink, clink. Then the wealthy man, he came in making much ado about himself with his big sack of gold or silver shekels, and I'm sure he shook them loudly so that everybody could hear every last coin drop into that urn or offering plate. Felt pretty good about himself. The widow lady was very humble. And we know how that parable goes. The widow gave much more than the rich man. And in the scripture, the question is, well, how's that possible? She gave 2 pennies. Dude dropped some, heavy coin. She gave out of her sustenance. He gave out of his excess. When you give out of your excess, that doesn't always get God's attention. It doesn't put you at the head of the line. I'm not saying God doesn't appreciate it. Of course he does. And so do the people that you help. And I'm not trying to tell you should run out and give away all your money. That's not my point here. But my point is the scripture says that the widow woman gave more than the wealthy man because she gave out of her sustenance, not out of her excess. Sometimes we do charitable deeds just so we can get called up in front of the room at the next charity auction and get a big pat on the back and a handshake and a photo op and another certificate to hang on the wall. I got my certificate hanging on the wall. And through the miracles of modern technology, I'm going to snap my certificate just like that. And then I'm going to send that baby to Telegram on my phone. I'm going to hit send. I'm going to drag up Telegram. I'm going to go to the Breeze channel. That's where we just shoot the breeze. Now, this is hanging on my wall. I just took this with my phone. He's about 23 years old right now, college graduate. I snapped this picture with one of the first digital cameras ever made, a Hewlett-Packard, back in 2004, I believe it was. As you can see, the frames had a little wear and tear. I matted it myself. I had it printed out. But I was just walking through the orphanage grounds and I just looked over, and that was, as they say, the money shot, right? In fact, I even did a limited collection of these in very nice frames, signed and numbered. I think only made 100 of them or something, but and guess what we did with them? Yeah, we auctioned them off at charity auctions. So here I am giving the charity auction the bum rap, but no. What I don't want it to be is about you. I don't want it to be about your ego. I don't want it to be about you trying to make yourself feel better. If we, as people, as born-again believers, if we can get hyper-focused on helping somebody less fortunate than us, God will send somebody to help us out of our mess. You've probably noticed money doesn't just tend to fall from the sky. Unless you're that one guy. The bank robber, DD, BJ, you know how I'm talking about, the guy that robbed the bank, threw the money out of the plane, right? Money doesn't fall from the sky. If God is going to move and bring resources into your life, it's usually going to come through a man or through a woman. And, okay, can I have 1 minute to talk about a pet peeve? Christians sometimes get a bad rap because of these stories that they tell, not that they're untrue. Well, let me tell you what I mean. A sister stands up in church and on testimony day, and she says, oh, I just want to tell you about the miracle that happened in my life. Okay, sister, what happened? Oh, they were coming to cut my electricity bill off in a few days, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I went to the mailbox and I opened it, and there was a check for $632. Everybody's like, hey. And so at the end of the service, I said, hey, can I ask you a question? Yes, son. Was it on the 3rd of the month that check showed up in your mailbox? And she's like, oh. I said, isn't that the day the Social Security checks come out? And she's like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I left it right there. I said, so boy, God is so good, right? And she said, yes. I didn't want to make her feel bad. I didn't want to make her feel guilty. I didn't want to do anything that aggravate God. But sometimes we Christians, we take things that happen in our life and we turn them into these little miracle things that sometimes that's why we don't have credibility with the non-believer, okay? I mean, God is still doing real miracles in the world today. I believe this. I believe he still heals the blind, can make the lame walk, can turn your finances around or upside down. I believe God, through Jesus, who walked this earth and did so much for so many. I don't think our God has grown weaker or slower. I don't think his eyesight is dim or his hearing not quite as acute as it once was. No, I believe we serve the same God. I just believe that individually and corporately, we may not have the same level of faith that we once had, or as believers once had. Okay, so I was supposed to be talking to you about being creative. Okay, don't wait for something wild to happen so that now you're obligated to go ahead and I said I was going to do this, so now I got. No. Pray, make sure you understand what it is God wants from you, and say, okay, God, you can see my resources I have right now, but I don't want to wait another day. Help me to see how I could take whatever resource I have. Maybe it's enough oil and enough flour for 2 biscuits. Whatever it is, God, just show me. Because I want to do that today, to show that my faith is not in the government sending me a check, or my boss handing me a check, or the rate of return I get on my savings account. I want it to be unmistakable that my faith is in you. He'll show you. It may not sound like you thought it would sound. It may not look like you thought it would look. It might not smell like you thought it would smell. But when it's God, if you're on the lookout, it's undeniably God. And when you ask him and he speaks, oh, which is better, sacrifice or obedience? In God's eyes, obedience is way up the ladder above sacrifice. We can all sacrifice something, right? But can you be obedient? When the Holy Spirit speaks to you and says, walk across the room, introduce yourself, ask that woman if you may pray for her. I don't like public speaking. People make me nervous. I have social anxiety, phobias. Great, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You can do what God asked you to do, to go pray for that woman, and in the process, work out some of these issues that you're having. Get moving. Well, yeah, she's standing next to Miss Jones, and Miss Jones never has liked me too much, and so maybe I better do this next Sunday. God didn't ask you to do it next Sunday. Holy Spirit spoke to you right now and asked you to do it. So you're going to be obedient or not? This is a dramatic pause so that you'll actually think about it. The next time God speaks truth into your life via the power of the Holy Spirit, A, are you going to recognize it? B, are you going to deny it or hide from it? C, are you going to pounce on it? I want you to get to the point where when you wake up every morning, instead of hiding behind the covers, you kick the covers off and you say, hey, God, what do you got for me today? I don't mean what's he going to give you today. What assignment, what job, what life needs to be touched, changed? Who can I comfort? Who can I bring hope to? Remember at the beginning of, what was that TV show? Napoleon Solo and Ilya Kuryakin. Was it High Spy? I don't think that was it. Man from Uncle.
Man from Uncle.
Thank you so much. The little recording would come on, and they were always excited to find out what your next assignment was, and then it would self-destruct. Yeah, I would really love to to hear back from you guys that after this talk that you've started to wake up in that mindset, that frame of mind, and don't ever despise humble beginnings. Now, my wife and I, yes, God used us to build an orphanage in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, a place we'd never been, never thought we would go. Didn't have the money, didn't have the education, didn't have the connections. All we had was God whispering in both of our ears, this is what I want you to do. And we were just new enough back in the faith to not know any better, to not believe our friends and family who told us we didn't have the money or the education or the other stuff. And we just did it because God said do it. Now, we had a little bit of money, but we certainly did not have the money to build a 25-acre campus with multiple dormitories and high schools and a baby's home. But we had a little bit of seed. We were able to purchase 5 acres initially, clear that land, and then we had a little money to build that first little humble school building. And God, it was God's plan. He just needed us to step out in faith and get it going. And then pretty soon we got people contacting us we never even heard of before, wanting to know if they can give us some money towards this orphanage because they've seen and heard about the work that's being done and they want to be a part of it. When God gives you a mission, if it's truly a mission from God, He will also send you provision. Now, we had plenty of lean months. There's plenty of months the cupboard was almost bare. But since the day we opened, not one of those kids, there's over 700 now, not one of those kids has ever had to go to bed with an empty stomach or not knowing that someone loved them. Those children are told several times a day by one of the teachers that they are loved, and they learn that their Heavenly Father loves them. We've got graduates of the school at the orphanage now who've gone out, gone into business, and one guy has like some kind of import-export business with China. He comes back to the orphanage, he gives back, he's sewing in, he's being a blessing to the kids because he lost his parents to AIDS when the epidemic was so bad back when we started in 2000. Now, it would have been very easy that Wednesday night for my wife and I to go, well, that's a little steep for us, God. And I don't mean money-wise, I just mean we're not prepared. We don't have the training. And we probably did have that conversation to some degree, but he kept saying, but you have me. You have me. Be still and just let me be God. And so we did. And he was. And he still is. So I just want to encourage you, talk to God today. If it's not already a burning desire in your heart, what he created you for, start having that conversation with him every day. And then look for him to show you in some unexpected way. It's probably not going to be an envelope that arrives in the mail, from the National Board of Regents, you've been selected to blah, blah. No, probably won't happen like that. But you got to be on the lookout for that still small voice, that situation, that circumstance, something, and the hair will stand up on the back of your neck and you'll go, hoo-wee, that's God. God's talking to me through this person, through this rude clerk or some other situation. Oh God, I feel your presence here. Please help me understand the lesson. Help me get what you're teaching. And he will. That's how he works. That's his kingdom. And he said he would supply all of your needs according to his riches and glory. So does that mean you can't be a trader because he's going to provide all your needs? No, he gave you a brain. Now he's put this incredible thing in front of you called trading. And it just so happens that we're having some of the best trading conditions that the world has ever known, combined with the technology that we have and the new things coming on the horizon. The annual income in Kenya is $1,800 a year. That's what annual means. In Kampala, Uganda, East Africa, $1,800 a year. So if you sow into someone's life, into a family, or you plant a small church there, you're not just touching one life, you're touching generations of lives. From the Father to the Son, like that Carrie Job song, you know, the blessing, and your children, and your children, and your children's children. And yesterday, they played that during the Elevation Church service. It was the 100th day anniversary of the first time they played that song publicly on that stage. And it became, in my mind, the ballad of 2021. I mean, it just really did. And so if you don't, some of us meet for church every Sunday morning in our own living rooms. We put YouTube up on the big screen, and Elevation Church streams their service live, just like I'm streaming this broadcast live. The music is out of this world. The preacher, Stephen Furtick, he's a great guy. I really, really enjoy. I look on Saturday nights, I got a little bit of pep in my step because I'm looking forward to Sunday morning. Now that's a lot different than when I was a kid and I spent the weekends with Granny Reeves. And if you stayed at Granny Reeves's house, there was never a question whether or not you were going to church. If you slept under her roof, you're going to church. And I remember not really so much looking forward to that. And there's been periods throughout my life where, probably the times I most didn't want to go with the Sundays I had to preach. I'm telling you, I'm not a Sunday morning preacher. Christians are mean. And just stand up there and stare out into all those faces, man, break out in a cold sweat. Take a chug of water out of the bottle, spill it all over your white shirt. Yeah. I don't mind preaching. In fact, I enjoy preaching. I enjoy teaching. I'm just not the Sunday morning guy. But this period that I'm going through in my life right now, Saturday night, I start thinking about Sunday morning. And I'm anxious for the service to start. We stand up in our living room and we dance and wave our hands and sing to the wonderful worship music, just like we're in church with them. And it's streamed and it's live, and you can just feel the presence of God. And now I don't want to get into idolizing some man because he's a real great speaker and a great preacher. He wouldn't want that either. Oh, man, I'm going to touch on this and just shut up for today. My friend that passed away here a couple of weeks ago, Coney, who was my best friend and pastor for many years, he helped us pioneer the work in Africa. In other words, once we got it going and got some buildings built, he flew with us the first time we went because he had been there before, just to kind of show us the ropes a little bit. Coney did not have a mega church. He did not preach to tens of thousands of people every Sunday morning. But he ministered to individual people, one-on-one, in a way I've never seen anyone do before. Now, I remember as a kid, the pastor, we were a small Pentecostal holiness church, about 50 people. So about once a year, the preacher would come around and have dinner at your house. You know, he'd go to like one family every week or something. And that was nice and it was pleasant, but there was, I don't know, to me as a kid, I'm sure my grandmother was very honored, but to me, it was like no big deal. These mega churches, when you got 10,000 in the audience, well, there's no way you as a pastor are ever going to be able to have dinner with every one of those families. You might not ever even actually speak to them. So I'm writing an article. It's called the Mega Church Paradox, because on a Sunday morning, Coney would preach to about 50 people in a church. In Africa, he'd preach to a whole lot more. But here in the US, about 50 people. But he loved people every day of the week. He ministered to people every day of the week. He would come to my office when I still had my office downtown. He and I would sit and talk about the things of God for hours, and then we would pray for the people in the church, people that we knew, you know, his work in Kenya, our work in Kampala. Now he's gone. I can't believe God took him before me. I don't even know how to make sense of that. He deserved to live. He did more good on a daily basis than I'll ever dream of doing. And I actually try. And he wasn't trying to show off. He wasn't trying to impress anybody. It's just who he was. He made you feel special. And this is where he really knew what he was doing. When you went to him with a problem and you laid it all out, he would sit there and look at you, nod his head a little bit, and he'd go, "What's God saying to you about that?" Now you came to him for counseling. You laid out all your laundry, dirty or not, and he would go, "So what's God speaking to you right now about that?" "Well, I don't even, what do you mean? I thought you were good." "Well, no, tell me, what's God speaking to you now about your situation?" And out it would come. I sat through these sessions with him because I was sort of like his assistant kind of thing. But anyway, and it was amazing. He taught me how to minister to people. He taught me how to counsel people. And whatever dirty laundry they had thrown out on the desk up front, you know, half the time that was just an act, or they didn't know what to say or do. But by gently probing, he would have them really spill their guts and really get it out on the table. What was really going on in their life, why they were still having this problem, and what God was already telling them. Coney never took credit. The only credit he ever took was that he pointed men and women to Jesus. He would be quick to tell you, "I don't have all the answers, but let me introduce you to the one who does." Now, his funeral was just packed. He had to have outdoor seating. I would expect no less. But as I talked with different people, I kept hearing the same recurring story. I thought it was my story, right? They would say, "You know, Dwayne, Coney had this unique way of making you feel like you were the only person that was important to him or mattered to him when you were sitting there talking to him." In other words, he wasn't looking at his watch, he wasn't staring out the window, he wasn't checking his phone. He made you feel important, and he felt that you were important because you were God's child, and God had placed his child in front of him to try to help. He took this all very, very seriously. And I saw demons literally cast themselves out of people. He didn't have to spray any holy water or any of that. These things would just manifest because they were in the presence of God. Not because Coney was God. He wasn't. But he was so prayed up, so filled up with the Holy Spirit, that when Satan came into that room, he knew he was up against a foe he could not defeat. Now, the person that come for counseling, he knew he could slap him around like a little school kid. But that other guy over there with the slight paunch, enemy couldn't do battle with him because he represented God. He was God's man of the hour, man on the floor. So, of what I've said today, take what you can use. God's created you for an important reason. If you don't know what it is, please find out. If you need me to pray with you about it, I will. Reach out to me on Telegram. We'll figure out a time we can chat by phone or something. I'll pray with you. You know, in fact, I want anybody in our listening audience to know that if you ever need prayer about anything, need somebody to pray for you or pray with you, you get a hold of us. One of us will get together with you. And I want to see that ministry team start to, just as those of you who are learning how to trade, you've got to pay it forward now and start helping the new people. Okay. I want it to be the same way with ministry. You know, as new people come along and they have hurts and bumps and bruises and owies, you know, and I know some of you are doing it already. I don't have to tell you to do it, but I just want you to know that that's my heart. And I believe that is the heart of the Father, that he wants you to do that. None of you are here by accident. I don't care if you're a first-time attendee today because you saw a tweet, or you've been coming every day since 2005 when we first started broadcasting live. It's no accident. It's no coincidence. There's a purpose, reason behind everything God does. You're that important to him. Now, if you don't already know or you have questions, get with him, talk to him. Just like you're talking. And it doesn't have to be one of those long, flowing, poetic prayers. We all, you know, they sound pretty. Well, God, you can just cut at the chase. Hey, God, I heard that dude talking on the internet today, and I want to walk close with you, God. I want to do your will. What did you create me for? Show me, please, so I can get busy doing it to the best of my ability. And it will surface. If it hasn't yet, it will. And you'll come to me with some pretty good story to tell. Dwayne, I was praying, like you said, into this, into that, and next thing, boom. Just don't tell me that it's the 3rd of the month and your Social Security check showed up in the mail, and that's the financial miracle you were praying for. That's not a miracle. Your Social Security check shows up on the 3rd of the month every month. Okay? Let's not water down the fact that God has given you and I as believers the ability to lay hands on the sick and they recover. I believe this. I don't believe it in that other kind of way, you know, that the TV stuff, you know, the one guy just apologized for all the years that he did that. Benny, what's his name? Hey, and I'm not here to judge him, not at all. It's my backside's way too narrow to sit in the seat of judgment. Just slide right out, like Lily Tomlin in that big chair on Laugh-In, or whatever her name was. Isn't that what you want? Don't you want to walk closer with God, with your Creator? I mean, it's his breath in your lungs. Think about that. My heart needs a surgeon. My soul needs a friend. So I turn to the Father again and again and again. Instead of simply accepting what is, you need to take what is and make something more out of it. When you do that, you're following in your Heavenly Father's footsteps. Sometimes churches pour cold water on any thought or activity that isn't religious, that doesn't fit, the format. And that's a shame. It really is. They might even make accusations and tell you that you're trying to be too worldly. And therefore, God is not pleased with you. Hey, me and God, we're on a first name basis. I call him God. He calls me Dwayne. If he's not pleased with me, he'll tell me. Not that I can't accept godly counsel from godly men and women. I always want to be receptive to that. But I'm also not going to let some pretty talker snatch the rug out from under the relationship that I know I have with my Creator. That's not going to happen. When people make that accusation, oh, you want to have this kind of group in the church, take like all the young people, go roller skating. That's too worldly. Do you imagine what we could be doing? We're talking roller skating here. This is pretty tame. Anyway, it's kind of like God. It's kind of like saying that God is only able to work inside the four walls of a church that has the right amount of stained glass and a steeple up on top. Back in the day, the early church, there was no stained glass, no steeples. You wouldn't dare put up a steeple, you get hung, maybe upside down. They met in each other's homes under the cloak of secrecy. Until one of the Romans decided to make it the state religion, and then things changed for a while. Psalm 24:1. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it, whether it's flat or not. I got into an argument Friday night downtown on First Friday, not an argument, but a discussion with some flat earthers. They honestly believe the earth's flat. I told you this yesterday, so I won't repeat it. But anyway, flat or not, God owns it. He created it. It's his. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you do in life, God wants to put your creativity to work so that you can glorify Him and be a blessing to others. Just like that little fella up on the screen. He's got his own kids now. I'm going to track him down someday. Won't that be fun? Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.